Euro. John Winters, Supermarket Sleuth, talking to you again from Auckland. Now, before I do my usual piece about supermarkets, I just want to make a reference to Prince Philip. Prince Philip was a remarkable man whose thinking was well ahead of his time. An example of that was he gave up an outstanding career in the British Royal Navy to support his wife in her accession to the throne in 1953, following the death of her father, King George VI, a year earlier. He'll always be remembered amongst his many achievements for the creation of the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. There are so many adjectives to describe him: astute, forward-thinking, the Queen's rock. He had a bit of a wicked sense of humour as well, which was really rounded the man off. He was not stuffy, he was a very down-to-earth man, and he was admired by the thousands of people he met during the course of his life. He was from a Greek family, adopted by the UK, and was a staunch supporter of the country and of its people. Prince Philip, rest in peace. Right, I'll start with my normal look at supermarkets, and we're looking at supermarkets in the UK. With the UK then edging towards the end of lockdown, how was this reflected in the country's shopping behaviour? Latest grocery industry data from Nielsen IQ showed total till sales fell by 2.9% year on year in the 4 weeks to the 27th of March. But as to be expected, there was a 34% jump in sales of confectionery ahead of Easter, and an increased spending in supermarkets on clothing that was up 106%, and garden items up 92% ready for spring. By contrast, sales of packaged grocery were down 24%, and household goods like cleaning and paper products fell by 31% against the same period last year when stockpiling began. Compared to the same period in 2019, before the pandemic, overall sales were still up 14%, as shoppers spent £1 billion more on groceries in the latest period. Nielsen IQ's data also shows that in the last 4 weeks, online grocery sales stayed high, growing at 32%, while bricks and mortar sales declined by 14% year on year. Despite overall growth declining in those 4 weeks, the picture for the first quarter of the year also shows sales are now levelling off with an industry growth of 5.7%, down from 8.6% in the last quarter of 2020. And how are the individual supermarkets doing? Nielsen IQ's data showed that Lidl grew the fastest over the 16-week period. Iceland and Aldi also did well, Asda and Morrisons were the fastest growing supermarkets of the big 4 retailers. Now, taking a closer look at how individual supermarkets have done during the most recent lockdown, Aldi and Asda led the way in attracting more new customers in store and online than any of their competitors, according to new research from Shopper Insight specialist Shoppercentric. When asked which grocery retailer they had used for the first time ever during the latest lockdown, 7% of consumers said Aldi, 6% Asda and 5% Tesco. Only 4% of those surveyed said Lidl or Sainsbury's, while just 2% said Morrisons. This shows Aldi to be the most successful of the others in attracting shoppers looking for money-saving deals. The research featured in the Shoppercentric Stocktake 2021 report shows that all the retail multiples experience their shopper base becoming more mobile and new shoppers coming and leaving again. For example, Aldi was also the most successful retailer in attracting new shoppers into their stores. Among most often Aldi bricks and mortar shoppers in December 2020, 25% were new to Aldi physical stores, but a further 14% were new to a different online retailer to Aldi. Of the most often shoppers at other retailers' bricks and mortar stores, 23% were new to Asda physical stores, None said that they were new to Asda Online, but a further 9% were new to a different online retailer other than Asda. 20% were new to Sainsbury's physical stores, both supermarkets and Sainsbury's Local. 5% were new to Sainsbury's Online, and a further 7% were new to a different online retailer other than Sainsbury's. 18% were new to Lidl physical stores, but a further 17% were new to a different online retailer other than Lidl. 15% were new to Tesco's physical stores, both supermarkets and Tesco Express. 4% were new to Tesco's Online, and a further 8% were new to a different online retailer other than Tesco's. 13% were new to Morrisons physical stores, 3% were new to Morrisons Online, and a further 9% were new to a different online retailer other than Morrisons. So who was the biggest loser? Despite final quarter positive trading results for the multiples, Shoppercentric's data shows, not surprisingly, that large format bricks and mortar stores have been most affected by the fallout from COVID-19. This is despite being the traditional go-to channel for many shop missions, which have gained significantly in importance overall. Research shows that online shopping is now fulfilling lots of these main shops, while many shoppers have rediscovered local independence and convenience formats for their top-up needs. Discounters like Aldi and Lidl, with smaller ranges, narrow aisles and therefore perceived difficulties for social distancing, have struggled to fulfil more fearful shoppers' needs to do a complete shop in one store. It has been widely reported that the pandemic has fast-tracked the update of online grocery shopping, with 7 in 10 shoppers now buying some groceries online each month. From a stable 5-year base of 11% pre-COVID, the proportion of shoppers saying that they most often go online to buy groceries shot up by 17% during the first lockdown and had remained there ever since. The proportion of grocery spending online is still growing. 37% of online shoppers now source at least 75% of their groceries digitally, and that's up from 31% in the first lockdown. In terms of the move to grocery online shopping, contrary to the traditional belief that digital growth is greatest amongst the young, uptake has been fastest among the 65+ age group, which more than doubled during the course of 2020. Time now for a coffee. Waitrose is to start replacing its own label coffee capsules with a more sustainable alternative. This is part of its drive to make all packaging used on its products widely recyclable, reusable or home compostable by 2023. The previous capsules were made from mixed materials, polypropylene with an aluminium lid, difficult to separate for recycling and so usually ending up in landfill. The retailer's new coffee capsules are made from biosourced materials including sunflower seed bark and sugars derived from corn, both of which are fully compostable. The lid's made from cellulose and can also be home composted, whilst the box is fully recyclable. Waitrose says the coffee will be the first own-label home compostable capsules that can be used in Nespresso-style coffee machines. 4 different blends in the new packaging are in stores. Thought to be prompted by the pandemic, the supermarket says it's seen a significant rise in coffee sales in the last 12 months, up by 39%, as people stayed at home and replaced their office in high street coffee with a homemade alternative. Still with Waitrose, it's launching what it says to be its biggest own label range of 2021, called the Levantine Table. It's inspired by the culture of the Levant, the region of the Middle East that stretches along the Eastern Mediterranean and includes the cuisines of Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Syria, Turkey and Cyprus. The 120-strong Levantine Table range will start rolling out in UK stores and online from the 12th of April. And it's already started, obviously. It includes scratch-cooked ingredients like spice blends and pastas, along with prepared meals and vegetable dishes, dips, snacks and desserts. A selection of 30 Levantine homeware products, including sharing platters, bowls, dip dishes, trays and table linens will also be sold on both John Lewis and selected Waitrose shops. Together with its own chefs, Waitrose said it worked with experts on the region to create the first-to-market range. Together with its own chefs, I've already said that, as well as classics such as falafel, olives, hummus, kebabs and savoury pastries, the range also includes sharing dishes for small or large gatherings as part of a mezze feast. Here's a weird one. Don't shop at Tesco's. Go to pubs instead. Why am I saying that? I'm not. Tesco is. It's promoted via a newspaper, social media and billboard campaign urging customers to give shopping a miss and instead visit their local pub. That's different. As beer gardens in England opened for the first time since the start of the winter lockdown, Tesco used its advertising clout to highlight the difficult times in the hospitality sector. The ad says, and these are their words, "Pubs have had it tough this year. That's why, for once, instead of telling you about our fantastic deals, we're using this space to ask you to support them instead, as long as you feel safe to do so. Because right now, every little helps." End of their quote. The campaign recognises that supermarkets have benefited significantly from pubs and restaurants being closed during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Says Tesco, "We're using our ad spend to encourage the nation to give Tesco a miss in favour of a visit to the pub. We urge our customers to head to their local for a drink or a bite to eat with friends and family if they can." On the subject of alcohol, 2020 was the biggest year on record for the off-trade cider category, with a growth of 21.2%, taking overall value to £1.3 billion. This is according to the latest Western Cider report, which shows almost half of UK households, that's 47.7%, now buy into the category, which attracted almost 1 million more shoppers in 2020. And shoppers bought cider in greater volumes, averaging an additional 30 litres per household, up 9.4%. Weston's 6th annual cider report reveals growth of crafted cider continues to significantly outpace the overall category, up 48.7% versus 21.2%. This is thought to be largely attributed to the role this subcategory plays in driving premiumisation, as the price per litre of crafted cider is significantly higher than the market price, 3.23 pence per litre versus 2.31 pence per litre. As well as highlighting distribution and sales gains for crafted cider, cloudy, rosé and no and low alcohol, Weston's latest report reveals the average household now buys cider once a month. Average volumes per household is 37.1 litres, up 9.4%. Apple cider continues to dominate. Crafted ciders are driving the greatest growth. Canned offerings continue to prove popular among shoppers who enjoy the lightweight and recycling format. And finally, glass is following suit, accounting for just under a third of all sales, whilst plastic bottles continue to decline as a result of consumers moving away from value offerings, alongside price rises following the introduction of minimum unit prices in Southend. The trend driving growth, the Western Cider report also reveals, premiumisation continues to be the driving force of growth across the off-trade, with the average price per litre having risen to £2.31. In the convenience channel, this is already averaging £2.40, ahead of the total market. Authenticity and craft remains important factors for cider drinkers. Online and convenience cider sales have boomed. Cloudy and rosé ciders have now presented a huge sales opportunity, with respective growth rates of 104% and 481%, far outpassing the overall category. Low and no alcohol cider volume has grown by 32.6% in the off-trade, with increased penetration and interest during the growth. Large pack formats are also on the rise. Now finally, with supermarkets, yet another is getting rid of more plastic from its stores. Morrison's is to remove all plastic bags for life, making it the first major supermarket in the UK to stop using plastic carry bags completely. The retailer said the move will save 3,200 tonnes of plastic per year and follows its removal of single-use plastic bags in 2017. Instead, customers will be able to buy paper bags that are reusable and recyclable and said to be water and tear resistant. Morrison's referred to a life cycle assessment done by the University of Sheffield, which showed that the paper bags have a low carbon footprint than the plastic equivalent. The removal of the plastic bags for life will be phased, beginning in Scotland this month, followed by England and Wales over the course of the next year. Among 100 million plastic bags will be removed in total, which will equate to 1.9 million a week. Now we turn to suppliers. When life gives you potatoes, make crisps is a new campaign from Walker's with a new look across its core range. As well as signposting Walker's use of British potatoes, that's clever in times of shipping delays, the packs feature some fun facts and history into the brand's sustainable sourcing credentials, tastes, compromise and zero use of additives, artificial colours or preservatives. Fernando Cahane, marketing director of Walker Snacks at PepsiCo, said, these are his words, "We harvest only the finest potatoes from over 80 farms around Britain, and this is something we want to continue to share with consumers. The new packs will feature a QR code that will be the link through to the Walker's website, where people can find out more about how we care for our spuds and the planet." Walker's is joining up with Comic Relief in a long-term partnership with extra help from comedians Azim Chowdhury and Jessica Knappett, or Knappett, not sure how you pronounce that, to demonstrate the power that humour can have to positively influence mental well-being. Well, that's it for today, and that's it for this week. I'll be back next week. Bye for now.